Hey, it's Laura, and it's the first episode of Mondays on Menopause. I talked about this past weekend when I posted some videos of starting a new series on Mondays. And the reason I'm calling it what I am is because the one thing menopause has done to me is to make me a little more scattered in terms of what I want to be doing. And so you never know, you may be getting some quilting, you may be getting some mixed media, you may be getting bookmaking. You don't know what's going to show up. So we're just going to go with that flow. But in those videos over the weekend where I talked about what I have coming up, I told you this first episode I was going to show you those bags from before I was doing paper crafts and I was following the paper trail. I was a quilted bag lady. I started quilting back in the early 80s and continued on even while I was in school and graduate school. And then I arrived in Seattle, and I kept on with my quilting. Sometimes in the mid-ish 90s, I took my quilts, much like I did with my paper crafting, into the 3D realm. I think it's because of my education in in architecture that tends to move me in the direction of doing three-dimensional objects. In those days, well before social media and all of that kind of inspiration, and most of the quilting magazines were just that, quilting. So they were quilts. Bags had not yet become a thing the way they are right now. There was a Japanese magazine or two that I was able to find, and that's kind of gave me some degree of inspiration. That was an inspiration for this bag. These are kind of the first bags I started to make and create that I recall these being those early ones. But I had a blast. I would also stock the purse departments of Nordstrom's and the Bon Marché, which became Macy's here in Seattle. Now Macy's isn't even in that downtown location, but that's what I would do on my lunch hour. I'd quick eat lunch and then I'd go to all sorts of different stores and look at their bags. Of course, I mean, I was probably on their security list, though, because I wasn't buying anything. I also wasn't taking anything, but I would try to figure out how bags were put together. In my series that I have coming up starting later in the week, I will be talking a little bit more about all of that and the pattern that I started to discover when it comes to purses and bags and totes. And you'll see more of that in a video coming up, that series that starts this next week about beginning your bag making journey and what all you'll need and all that kind of thing. So watch for that later this week. But again, like I said, these were some of my very, very first bags. This little, I don't even know what to call it because it's not really a rice bag, but it's a little round. It's just a band with a bottom on it and this part that gathered together. Then just some little pouches. This is one of the first pouches I made. I'm just trying to figure out how to put that zipper in. It has some little buttons, a lot of piecing. This one I was using some cool brocade type ribbon on both of these. So this is some little round pouches, which there's a million patterns out for round pouches now, and a little square pouch. On my website, just to get this part out of the way, on my website, I do have patterns updated and have been on the website now for a couple years now of 5 of my patterns. My pouches are one of them. Those 5 patterns are ones that I taught a couple years ago when I started teaching in person again. So there's a couple of patterns on there and more are coming up. So what I decided to do with this first Monday is that I'm just going to be showing you all the bags that I made, basically show you that I really was a bag lady. And I'm going to have to break it down so that it's not super long into probably like 4 videos. So this first one is going to be mainly about the different purses. And then I'll have one about totes and then one about packs and pouches and other miscellaneous. And then I'll do another one that is the bags that I've done in the last couple of years. So we'll go ahead and let's get started on the bags one. Now, some of these have patterns, or eventually I'll have them updated. Some of them I don't know what I was thinking, and others are just okay. Whoops! Now I just caught that on my phone. This is just a little flat little pouch. I also, one of the things I'm going to do on some short videos is show how to do these little units, which are called flying geese. And I have always done these as 3-dimensional flying geese. Super easy. You don't have any diagonal seams to sew, whatever. So this is just a random one. I also was very original at naming back in those days. This was flapped purse. So this has, what creates the bottom is a T seam on the side, and then it has a flap. Real complicated. This one similarly also has a flap, but it's done. It has a side panel on it, and it had pockets for things like those newfangled things that we had called cell phones. When I started making bags, like I said, it was in the mid-90s. My earliest copyrights I have are like 96, 97, because that's when I started teaching the bags. And the oldest ones are 2007, 2008. So be aware of that when you're looking at some of the aesthetics of some of these, because they would now be considered vintage. Again, same thing, flapped. This is kind of a duffel style. See, these were also all done in those days with batting. So they've been in tubs for 20 years. So they're a little on the flat side, but this is kind of a duffel style of purse, handles, pockets on the side, and then a shoulder strap, and out of batiks. Another smaller, this one actually has like all these sizes, and this is one I'm going to put together as, this one is one of the, this is a pattern I will update, and this is a pattern that I will update. And these were all just, let's see, messenger purses was what these were. So I had little tags on them because I used to do quilt shows and stuff and have a booth at quilt shows and things like that, or when I would be teaching. So that's why they had little tags to say what they were. So these little messenger bags had the little tiny ones, had medium size, and these were flapped, and they could have pockets inside, like a zipper pocket on the inside. So kind of medium size, and then a larger size. Again, had a zipper in it. And if you'll notice on all of these, most of them will have, if it's a coil zipper, will have black zippers, because that's what you could find was black zippers. Nowadays, there's just all these different colors of zippers, and it's so freaking cool. I love that. Love that, love that. Anyway, here's another one of those handbags. This is in my early forays. Now this one has, I signed it, it's year 2000. So this is 26 years old. It makes me feel ancient because I remember doing this. And this is where I've done some painting, stenciled painting on some batik. And I use this for a lot of years. So this has a worn feeling. This one, I'm like going, I vaguely remember making this one, but it was a little crow. He had little wings and legs. Just a little, I think I was thinking of making it for my niece at the time, but it's kind of just a fun little cute thing. Another one of those flapped. Now this one is just kind of a round bottom shape, and it had 4 pockets. You can kind of see in this one, especially the coloring in those early days, of the influence of some of the Japanese magazines that I would find. So this one probably isn't going to become a pattern. This one was uber popular as purses goes. This one was, check out this name, double pocket purse. So it had 2 curved front pockets on the front and back, and I probably had 1,000 people make that one. I know, it's crazy. Let's do this one too. Okay, this one, for my paper crafting people may remember, I did a scrapbook that had pages that folded back on themselves, and I called them switchback. That idea generated from this purse that is called a switchback purse. So this piece of fabric here, it makes the front and back, is connected to this. So there's a seam right here down this middle, so then they fold back on themselves. So this created 4 pockets. So this one was the switchback purse. I thought this one was cute with license plates and the maps. Now this one, I don't know why I have so many samples of it, but I do. This was called the Lotus purse, and this had a pocket. These 2 half rounds kind of came together and stitched to form pockets on the front and the back. And what was nice about this, even though it was open, it didn't have a closure on it, because the opening was so small and it was larger at the bottom, with the bottom panel had these little points on it. So then it wasn't as easy for somebody to slip their hand in there, because it was small at the top and bigger at the bottom. But I had these in multitude of sizes and colors. Now this one was done, this was, I don't know if you still can find this or not, but this was pre-quilted fabric. And then this was pre-pin tucked fabric that I used on that one. Another handbag, kind of a duffely style. This one has, it was called the Saddle Purse and Tote. And I since renamed, I don't remember what I've renamed it to, but this one will be a pattern that will be up. It probably won't have the purse size in it, just because it was out of store, obviously. It had a zipper on the back. But I will have this in the tote size still as a pattern. Here's a bunch more. I'm just starting into this tote of them. This is kind of a hobo style. Another kind of hobo style with a zipper. And so I was using like dressmaking zippers or black zipper. This is another hobo one. Obviously this one, I didn't like hand tacking my binding down, so it still doesn't have the binding hand tack down. Another one of that same one. This is a hobo style. Ooh, let's see how old this receipt is. This receipt is from 2005. Till I use that as a purse, huh? This is one, actually I'm working on a tote version of this one. This was a Metro. Note these cute, tiny, like 3 fingers wide pocket that can go in the side. That's because we all have flip phones in those days. We didn't have our big iPhone size phones. Our little flip phones would fit in those pockets. And this has this triangular shape, and it had pockets then on each side. One thing you'll also notice with a lot of these is back in those days, Asian inspired fabrics were super popular. Now you hardly see them. I don't remember what this one was called. This was another one that was super popular. Oh, teardrop handbag. It's hard to see it, but it is kind of somewhat teardrop. But most of these all had some sort of piecing on them. As I'm refreshing, I'm not doing quite as much piecing on the patterns. But these are all, then they had a zipper. This is another one that there is a tote size version of that. I'm probably not going to do the purse size, but I'll have the tote size and probably a medium and a larger size. This one, I don't know. Oh, this is just still has to get the, no, that's all finished, huh? I don't know. This one's just kind of weird little duck. So this one was called the Urban Hobo. It's a little bit shorter this way. Had a pocket on the front. Let's see. Oh, this one I made out of my daughter's jeans when she was little. This one had upholstery fabric and denim in that switchback. This one was kind of making, you know, kind of that round bottom kind of thing with this kind of slingy that didn't get finished. And it had Kind of like that original bag that I showed you with this gathered, and it doesn't want to open. It's been zip closed forever. So that one just never made the cut, so it never got finished. This one, inspired by those jeans. This one's been around for a while. It's very stained, messy. Oh, now we're getting into some seriously weird ones with the handles on them. This was just a clutch type one. I'm running out of room. Then these were the handles you could get in the 90s. And this long and skinny. It's like, woo, I thought I was just it. This one, I think I made this one for my daughter. Had these little cherries on it, a pocket. I liked how I did the pocket on the back of that one. This one's positively frightening. Well, aesthetics were different, you know, in the 90s. So you have to understand that. This one I called the kangaroo, and I just never got the straps completely hooked onto it. And because it had a pouch inside of an open purse, and there was a pouch inside, and how it hooked in. So that was what made it a kangaroo. That one I'll have to revisit that. Again, this is like that other one. It's like the 90s, you know, we were a different breed then. This one's just an open. Oh, this is like the kangaroo with that pouch on the inside. And then this, just never got a strap put on it. Yeah, this is just purses. Just wait, we still got all the totes to do. Almost. Okay, this is all the all the purses. So this is a really, really, really early one. This probably could have gone in with a pile of those first ones. But with a little Bargello. And then some Seminole patchwork on this one. This is again using some upholstery. I think I called this one at the time binocular purse because it would look like a binocular bag. Oh, wow, look at that's actually got a cool. Oh, it clips on. I was going to say zippers with that kind of thing. Nah, it was a clip on. So there's that double pocket purse. Again, real popular. This was just a round purse. This one, one of my very favorite of all patterns, though not necessarily as a purse, but I called this one, and you'll see this in the tote size too. This one I called the Gypsy Tote. I'm going to rename it because I'm not comfortable with calling it a Gypsy Tote at this point. But it's got cute little kitties inside. But this one has gathered sides. And it has a hand strap. No, I thought I had a strap too, but that's one of my favorites. That will be a pattern as a tote. Again, using some upholstery fabric. I think I would get some samples at work. So this had a stuffed handle. So this is fabric and it's just stuff to make it more of a handle. That's kind of the duffel tote. So then this is again doing some Seminole patchwork stuff. And this one didn't make the cut. These are extraordinarily large, especially since I didn't have kids at this point. I'm like, why was I making such big purses? Anyway, this one just had some little flowers on it. And then these two, if this was in the days before you got things for like acrylic to make bottoms. So this has some bent foam core in it. So this one's also the same one. Didn't make the cut for being an actual pattern. But so anyway, that is all of the purses. So next part of this video, I'll be going over the totes so we can check that out.